Welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. Today we're going to cover the SIG 938. As the concealed carry market continued to grow, SIG entered the market with their Model 238 in 380 ACP in 2009. It offered a SIG quality firearm that filled the concealed carry market's needs very well. However, as with all things, the demand for easily concealed firearms in calibers that offered a little more punch began to grow. SIG responded to this demand in 2011 with the 938. The 938 is a 9mm micro-compact pistol that's just slightly longer than its 380 older brother at just 5.9 inches long, and retains the same height of only 3.9 inches. Even though it's an all-metal frame gun, it weighs in at only 16 ounces. This is lighter than many of its polymer-framed contemporaries in its class. It holds 6 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber, and an extended 7-round magazine is available. It's a single-action only pistol with function and controls patterned after the 1911, just scaled down in size. It features an ambidextrous safety to allow for cocked and locked carry for either right or left-handed shooters, and it comes in a variety of finishes and has night sights as standard. This one is the Nightmare version, which features a nitron steel slide, black hard-coat anodized frame with contrasting controls, and Hogue G10 grips. Let's take a closer look. As always, before starting to work on any firearm, you want to do a safety check to make sure it is free of ammunition. So first, the magazine is empty. And we can see as in the action, it is clear. So we're ready to go. So let's take a look at the controls of the SIG 938. The magazine release is right here. Of course, you push on that and that would release the magazine. The trigger is right here. Now the 938 is a single action. So it just takes a slight pull on the trigger. And the purpose of the trigger, all it does is release the hammer. On recoil, the slide, when it recoils back and ejects the round, it would then cock the hammer for the next shot. This is the slide lock here that locks the slide back. And the magazine, the little tab right there on the magazine, engages inside on that lever. And then it engages in this recess on the slide to lock the slide back. To release, you would just pull down on that lever. Of course, working against the spring in the magazine, it makes it very hard to pull out just manually. A full magazine or magazine removed makes it fairly easy to pull down. It can be operated manually by physically pushing up on it. Now, the SIG 938 does have a safety. It's this lever right here. When you push up, that locks the hammer back, rendering it safe. And that safety can be put on in either mode, with the hammer in the down position and not cocked. You cannot cock it with the safety on. And when it's cocked, the hammer can't be released. Of course, then pull down and that readies it to fire. So you can pull the trigger then to fire the weapon. Disassembly. This firearm disassembles much like a 1911. The slide lock also operates as the takedown or disassembly lever. There's this little half moon shape, and you would need to align that with the corresponding tab that's underneath the slide here. So you would pull back the slide until that aligns, and on this side over here there's that little button there. That's the pin that goes through that locks it all together. So you can push down on that and once it's in the right spot and it's aligned, that will come up slightly. Then you can remove the lever. And then that would allow you to take the slide off the front. The frame itself, you'd want to clean the interior just with a brush and some type of a light cleaner. You can make sure the rails are cleaned. The hammer here, make sure everything's cleaned, and this is as far as you should disassemble it. This is the ejector right here that will eject the empty cartridges when you're firing. That leaves the slide assembly and barrel. This is the recoil spring, and the recoil guide rod is inside the spring there. And then this is part of the guide rod assembly. The spring goes into this a little bit. The guide rod goes through the slide frame, and on operation would protrude from there. Now to disassemble, you would basically just lift up on this by pushing down and lifting up. Now it is under pressure, it's not a captive spring, so it can go flying. And that's that assembly there. That leaves the slide and barrel. The barrel, you would just go forward, lift, go forward, and then you can pull out. Now the slide itself, you have the extractor right there. And so as far as cleaning and maintenance, you'd want to clean the corresponding grooves in the slide that go onto the rails of the frame, and clean everything out good, a light coating of oil. The barrel, you would again want to clean both inside and out, and a light coating of oil. And that's pretty much it. Reassembly, you would put the barrel in until it's in its locked position. You would put the front of the recoil spring into the recess on the slide. And at this point, this is where you've got to kind of work to get that guide rod through the spring and compress it. And this is the part that gets a little bit tricky. I'm gonna, let's see, get this into place. Then once you compress that and you push it back down, it goes against this block that's on the barrel. So that's assembled there. Then you would align the rails on the frame with the slots on the slide. Now, on the ejector, this is a little weird. You can't just push it back like you do on many. You have to push this forward and then pull the slide back. So you have to push that down low enough for the slide to go over. And then once it's in, you can then pull the slide back. You'd want to make sure that the barrel, there's a pin on that block, a hole. We'll make sure everything's aligned. And then that little half moon shape, you'll pull that back till it aligns with the tab on the lever, and push that down and release. Then you want to function check everything, and you're reassembled.
There were reports early in the pistol's release of a variety of issues, generally when being used with ammunition heavier than 115 grains. And as most defense ammunition is heavier than that, and the main reason people bought this gun was for defense, this was a problem. SIG identified the root cause and upgraded the parts causing the issues, and it appears that resolved the problems being seen. The root cause appeared to be that the recoil spring and extractor parts were essentially the same as the lower power .380 caliber in the parent 238 model. The higher power 9mm was simply too much for those parts to handle.
The serial number range in question was 8899 and lower and represented pistols manufactured prior to September of 2012. As long as your serial number is higher than that, you should be fine. If your pistol is one of the lower numbers, SIG should warranty replace the parts for upgraded ones if you're having issues. I hope this information is of assistance to you, and I would ask you to subscribe so that you don't miss anything. And as always, until next time, stay safe.